And hello, good evening, class. My name is Luis Augusto Monserrat, and tonight I'm gonna show you my final project demonstration for this CEN 3024C Software Development 1 class. This is the final result of the project that I have been working all along this semester, which is my database management system. And in this final phase, I integrated everything into a full application using JavaScript, object-oriented programming, Swing UI, MySQL database, and of course a clean layer architecture. So my project is called the Movie DMS, Movie Management DMS to be more exact, and it allows users to manage a movie database using a full CRUD, a custom mathematical feature, and a real-time updates with relational database. So before I start um, showing what the project is or what it does, um, I would like to talk about the most recent update. So from module 4, of course, we work on how to store objects with illicit attributes, allow full CRUD operations, perform a custom actions, validate all inputs and outputs of the program once is on running, and use a UP, OOP, better saying, later in phase 3 with the GUI, and finally in phase 4 a database backend with MySQL. For the project itself, I choose basically movies, and whenever you display, the user will get to see the movie ID of the movie, the title, director, release year, duration, genre, and of course the rating from 0 to 10.0, for example, which makes 7 fields fulfilling the requirements as the professor demands it. Now, the implementation plan, my project was designed using a modular layer approach. So we have the model layer, which is the movie class, the DAO layer, which is MySQL, utilizing JDBC, a service layer, which is validation business logic, a GUI layer, Swing Windows, and the main app, which is the entry point that handles all the database login. And as the project evolved, of course, I added each layer in order. So, for example, the phase 1 is logic in Java with CLI. Of course, phase 2, refactoring and unit testing. Phase 3, adding the GUI. And phase 4, last but not least, adding the MySQL database integration. So here is how I test the system. So I test with creating, reading, updating, and delete operations individually. So whenever the user wants to update anything in regards of the list, uh, it'll be easy for the user to do it. I test all the invalid inputs such as empty fields, wrong year ranges, invalid numeric values, you name it. Also, I verified that no invalid could crash the application. I test the database error like wrong credentials or connection failures, and I confirm that everything or every change in the GUI is reflected immediately in the MySQL database. And the deployment is easy. Of course, you have the option if you're using, for example, I do, um, in IntelliJ, you get to run it with the play button. Otherwise, you get to deploy the jar file throughout the terminal, whether it's the computer terminal or through the actual IntelliJ. So it's a lot easier, to be honest with you. And of course, the project phases and the evolution. So talking about the 4 phases. Phase 1, which is the CLI vision or version per se, which read and store the data from a file and the basic CRUD operations in the console. Phase 2, which is unit testing, refactor code for testability, basic CRUD operations in the console. Phase 3, designing the GUI once you deploy the actual code, which is a build swing interface, added buttons in the form of for the CRUD, of course, and then the user no longer to use the CLI, and the phase 4, which is integrating MySQL database. I personally choose MySQL because it's a wider version to store database compared to um, SQLite, which I could go through that way, but I personally prefer MySQL, which again enables that function perfectly without any problems. Which you can SQLite or MySQL, but I choose MySQL. Which is integrating a rational database, add a connection dialog, performing CRUD directly on MySQL, implementing a MySQL search, and ensuring real-time updates. That's the most important one. So, without further ado, let's run it. So again, using the terminal of IntelliJ, what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna open the file, the project file. I'm gonna clean the Maven just to ensure that it successfully connects without any issues, and once it says build success, then I'm gonna open the file where is the actual jar, and once I do that, I'm gonna ensuring that the jar file opens successfully. And here is the GUI. So here, of course, we are ensuring that we're connecting to the database. Here's the username and the password. So once we enter the password, it shows that it's connected to the MySQL and the database, in this case TMS movies, and here it is. So let's say you wanna add a movie, so the user gets to add the movie and it gets to type the movie ID. So for example, I wanna add, I don't know, I'll do Avatar, but Avatar, my cartoon, my childhood cartoon. So I'll do Ava and I'll do 2005, for example, and I do Avatar Last Airbender, for example. And the director, I don't have it on top of my head. I'll just put my name, for example. Again, the release year, we just go to 2005. I'll do 30 minutes, for example. Or you get to type in, that option works. Genre, I will say animation or animated, you can do that. And the rating, that's 9, I'll say 9 out of 10. And it creates. And as you see, it is successfully set up. Now, let's say you want to edit a movie, for example. Well, in this case, you select the row. Let's go back to my example and then edit. And let's say I misspell, I just want to make it a capital, for example, and it shows the full update. Now let's say I want to delete it, so I just get to select again the example, for example, and it shows delete. And it asks if I'm 100% sure that I want to delete it. In this case, yes. And there you go. And if you want to know the average duration, you just click average duration. It deployed. I will say I came all along for this project, and I cannot be more proud of myself on how this turned out. And you know, learning this, it wasn't an easy way, but I'm feeling 100% proud of this. And in conclusion, I just want to show what I learned throughout the semester, which is how to apply OOP to real system, how to refactor the code for testing, build a GUI that works successfully, how to use MySQL, how to integrate it to the JDBC, and how to follow the software development life cycle from the requirements to its deployment. The biggest challenge, of course, that I had is ensuring that the SQL, the database, gets synchronized with my script, and of course, packaging the jar. But other than that, the project I prepare, it's a project that will prepare me for the future, of course, and how I can ensure that as a software developer, everything gets done on the way that the client wants in the future. Without further ado, I just want to say thank you for your attention, to join to me in this journey, and I wish you all the success. Thank you so much.